how's it going, everybody? This is Chris King, the owner and lead designer at Spider by Design. Today we're going to be talking about white space, one of the most important elements when it comes to designing anything, whether that's a website, business card, flyer, literally anything. White space is going to be one of the most important principles that you need to learn, and you need to master it. So if you're ready to learn more about white space, we're about to get into it right now.
Hey, V.
We sneaking, we just chillin' on the weekend. That's when she get freaky. She told me don't lick it. Her job that she did since she just turned vegan. She tell me all I secret, she know I'm gon' keep it. Creeping and we sneaking, we just chillin' on the weekend. That's when she get freaky. She told me don't lick it. Her job that she did since she just turned vegan. She tell me all I secret, she know I'm gon' keep it.
So what is white space? White space is an element. So basically anything that is not one of your primary elements on your page is going to be considered white space. So it doesn't matter what color your background is. It could be blue, pink, purple, black. It's still going to be considered white space. So utilizing white space is what's going to basically take your website or take your design to the next level. So using white space can make your designs look more sophisticated, it can make them easier to read or understand, and it can also make sure that your message comes across a lot more clear than it would if you had a whole bunch of jumbled up elements on your page. We're going to take a look at a couple good examples of how to use white space to elevate your designs. So a really good example is Apple's website. You could take a look, like they love their white space. You know, if you buy iPhones, if you're a big Apple fanatic, you know they're all about sophistication, they're all about looking clean, and they just love to have a lot of space everywhere. So if you look at this page, you've got your element right here, you've got the new iPhone, but look around it. There's so much space right here, and it makes you focus on the iPhone, and it draws your attention to the words. It draws your attention to, the Buy Now button or the Learn More button. Using that white space actually can draw your customers in and make them click what you want them to click. So we're scrolling down. As you can see, we've got even more white space. Like, Apple loves this stuff, guys. And look, like, it makes it look clean. It makes it look modern. It makes it look sophisticated. So if that's what you want from your website, or if that's what you want from your flyers, your business cards, you need to take a page out of Apple's book and start using your white space properly. So as you continue scrolling down the page, you can see, like, still tons of white space. As you're scrolling down the page, you can see, like, there's still a ton of white space. They still want you to focus on looking at the image that they want you to see, exactly what it is. It tells you right here, and they want you to click the Buy Now button or the Learn More button. You scroll down even further, and look, there's even this image right here. There's a ton of white space on this image. It doesn't look like it because, there's buildings in the background and all that stuff, but your main focus is going to be on this guy right here holding the two iPhones that they want you to pay attention to. They want to draw your attention to those iPhones. They want you buying them right now. They have a button, watch the film. So you're going to probably click that button. You go down, even more white space. These guys are lovers of using white space and spacing everything out properly and just making it look neat, clean, and organized. And that's one of the biggest rewards of using white space properly. Just everything just looks so clean and organized and well put together, and it just makes your designs look way more trustworthy than if everything was all jumbled up and you just had all kind of crazy colors in the background, or just all kind of elements that you don't need. So just even more white space. So it's Apple. That's what they do. Okay, so we're back to the white background. So if you learned anything from Apple, it really does, utilizing white space properly really does bring your designs to the next level, make them look a little bit more sophisticated and organized. All right, guys, so there's two types of white space. You have active white space and passive white space. What's the difference? Alright, so the difference between active and passive white space, it's pretty simple actually. So with your active white space, you're going to be basically anything that affects the structure of the page, that's going to guide the user through your content. It could be margins, it can be padding, and you have way more control over your active white space than you do passive white space. So an example of the active white space, scroll down with me for a second. So your active space is going to be like what the arrows are pointing to. So the padding inside of this shape, that is active white space. Also, everything like this whole white background, that's active white space. You control how much of that space is being used up by the elements and the containers that you're putting in there. Also, if this was a button, the padding that you have between the word and the outside of the button, that padding is also going to be considered active white space. Alright, well, let's look at passive white space. One of the main things that makes it passive is you don't have as much control over it as you do your active white space. So passive white space, it's going to still improve the aesthetics of everything, but it's not going to guide the user through the actual content. Some examples of passive white space are going to be the kerning. And kerning, if you've seen one of my last videos, kerning is the space that is between the actual letters in a font. So all these little spaces in between, like WHITE, every little space in between there, that's kerning. You can actually control that in your settings. Another form of passive white space is going to be your line spacing. So right here between the words white and space, this black circle right here, that's going to represent the passive space, which you also do have control over that, but depending on how much space you put in between those, it can completely throw off your design. So you want to make sure that you're being careful with it, and that's why it's a passive element. You don't want to do too much and take away from your overall design. Alright, so that was like the two main examples I have of passive and active white space. I'm not an artist by any means. I just kind of had to throw this together just to kind of show you guys a quick example, and so you could see it with your own eyes. Everything's always a lot easier, especially to me, when you actually either see it or do it. Alright guys, I wanted to go over one more example of white space. So what we have right here, we have Everlane.com. If you've never heard of them before, they're kind of a mid-range luxury brand of clothing. If you look at this website, I mean, they have fantastic use of white space. Like, look at the menu. It's small, it's compact, even spacing between all the elements, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. The same with their logo, doesn't take up a lot of space, it's sitting right there in the middle, exactly where it should be. You have their other sub menu, and this, I mean, you can even look at, if you look at the sub menus, everything has like a lot of white space in between it. There's nothing's like really jumbled up. It kind of gives it like a more luxurious feel to it. Let's go ahead, let's scroll down and see what else they're doing. Alright, so this is a good use of white space right here in the men's section. So as you can see, like, I mean, of course you have the images over here with the guy wearing the t-shirt, but they're not trying to over-explain anything. It's just the t-shirt shop, a little bit of text about it, and then a call to action. And then the rest of it's just space. Same right here, they have a large white space in between there separating the categories or separating the elements. And then over here, like, all of these are good examples of white space. It's a picture, and then all you have is the call to action in each picture. They want you to click on that. They don't want you to do anything else. They don't want you to have to think twice about it. You look at it, you see, okay, what is this? Let me shop. Let me click that button. And then even like right here, I mean, it looks beautiful. Just having a ton of white space, a nice clean black font, and a simple call to action. It's just beautiful. Like it's classic, it's timeless. If you're designing a website, if you want to get that kind of look, you should go for something like this. And the same with down here. I mean, like I said, lots of white space in this section. They keep the text nice and compact in the center of the screen. And then you have your nice evenly spaced elements, simple text, and the images are clickable to take you, to the actual item itself. So if I click on that, bam, takes me to the item. The whole page is pretty much white, everything's evenly spaced. Everything's just has like a really nice feel to it. It feels comfortable, like you're not going to struggle to read anything, and it guides you through the entire process, basically. It's not really a lot more I can say about it. This is just a really good website example of using your white space. And then you know what? For people that stuck around this long, I have a bonus site. So we're going to look at thinkingbox.com. So this shows, white space doesn't have to be boring. Like, look at that. You have like your little scribbly line right there going in between the text. It kind of draws your attention to it, makes you want to read it. Look at how the Thinking Box logo transforms when you scroll up and down. A lot of white space. Like, look at this right here. Like, this is a perfect example of white space. And keeping it simple, keeping it clean, and it looks luxurious. It looks nice. It makes you want to buy it. Scrolling down, see plenty of white space. They keep it simple still. And that's what it's all about, people. Like, using your active white space, making it as simple as possible. You don't want to overthink it. You don't want to overcomplicate it. You just want to make sure that you're not just jumbling up all of your elements and trying to squeeze too much onto your screen. Like, people are only going to be able to see so much at one time. So break your elements up, put, a certain number of elements and text on one screen, and then make the user scroll down to see something else. Like, you don't have to try to fit all of your points onto one screen. There's a saying that goes, if everything is important, or if you think everything's important, then nothing is important. If you put everything bold, guess what? Nothing is bold. So use your white space wisely. Make sure that you guys are, like I said, not overcrowding your website or not overcrowding the screen with elements. So make sure you guys are using your white space properly. Make sure you're not overcrowding your elements. Make sure you're using the right type of padding and everything. You're kerning. Just make sure that you practice these things. Like, these things it's not gonna just hit you overnight, and you're not gonna just be an expert at using white space overnight. But I hope that this guide can help you out and at least point you in the right direction. I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming up. I know one of my videos coming up, it's gonna be a crash course intro to WordPress and Elementor. So you guys look forward to that. It's probably gonna be a long video, maybe about an hour and a half. But if you are trying to get into web design, if you're a beginner, I highly encourage you watch that video when I drop it. It's probably going to be about a week or two before I'm able to get that recorded and edited properly. I just want to thank everybody for watching my content. If it helped you out or you feel like it could help somebody else out, please please subscribe to my channel, please share my videos. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.
Moving at the speed of light, I keep falling for you up and I can't treat you right. You keep looking at me, probably knowing that I'm mine. Opening doors, here's to the